The prison authorities believed they had buried Salvatore Ricci alive. Steel doors slammed shut behind him, sealing him inside a world built from concrete and silence. The cell allowed no phones, no visitors, and almost no sunlight. Guards monitored him every hour, convinced isolation would erase his influence forever. They called it Regime 41 bis, Italy's most brutal anti-mafia prison system, designed to cut bosses off from the outside world completely. What the authorities never understood was simple. You can lock a man inside a cage, but you cannot imprison a system built inside people's minds. 3 months after Ricci's imprisonment, investigators noticed something impossible. His organization was not collapsing. Instead, the empire began functioning with chilling precision. Drug shipments arrived faster, cleaner, and more coordinated than ever before. Money laundering networks became nearly invisible, moving funds across continents without leaving obvious trails. Assassinations became rare, but when they happened, they were calculated with surgical accuracy. It was as if someone was redesigning the entire empire, like a chess player studying the board from above. Inside cell block D worked a quiet prison guard, named Alberto Serra, a man drowning in personal failures and crushing gambling debts. Salvatore noticed him immediately, reading the man's desperation like an open book written in fear. 4 weeks, Ricci never spoke to him. He simply observed, studying his habits and weaknesses with patient calculation. He watched Alberto linger near prison payphones long after his shift ended, whispering to creditors he could never satisfy. He noticed the cheap whiskey hidden inside Alberto's locker, consumed during lonely night patrols. One evening, Salvatore finally spoke through the food tray opening with calm certainty. "Your daughter needs surgery," he said softly, his voice steady and precise. Alberto froze in terror because the statement was true. His 7-year-old daughter needed a heart operation. He could never afford. Ricci slid a folded paper through the tray opening, containing only a bank account number, and a single sentence: "Loyalty cures problems medicine cannot." Within weeks, Alberto became Ricci's silent messenger, moving secrets through the prison without leaving obvious evidence. Salvatore refused to use letters or traditional notes. Instead, he designed a communication network inspired by wartime espionage. Messages traveled hidden inside religious prayer books, passed between inmates. Some instructions were buried within legal documents delivered during court hearings. Others were stitched invisibly into prison laundry patterns only trusted allies could decode. Crossword puzzles and pipe tapping using Morse code became additional layers in the invisible network. Every message passed through multiple intermediaries before reaching outside lieutenants, ensuring no single arrest could destroy the chain. Investigators later described the system as a ghost communication web that left almost no trace. From prison, Ricci dismantled the traditional mafia leadership hierarchy and replaced it with something revolutionary. He created a rotating leadership council known as the Circle of Nine, built on secrecy and compartmentalization. Each member only knew 2 others, ensuring betrayal could never destroy the entire organization. Even Ricci's closest generals never understood the full structure, making the system nearly indestructible. Outside prison walls, Isabella Moretti refused to abandon him, continuing her life as a famous pianist, touring across Europe. During her performances, hidden signals existed inside her sheet music, through tempo changes and repeated musical phrases. Each performance secretly delivered instructions to Ricci's criminal empire while authorities watched helplessly. To the public, she was simply a grieving lover, clinging to memories of a lost man. To Salvatore, she was his most trusted courier and strategic partner. Meanwhile, inside the Ricci family, another danger slowly grew in silence. His only son, Luca Ricci, had grown up surrounded by wealth, privilege, and bodyguards. Unlike his father, Luca never experienced poverty, or the slow discipline required to build criminal power. He believed leadership should be inherited by blood, not earned through fear and strategy. At 25, Luca secretly began forming his own alliances within the organization, pushing for faster expansion and more violent control. Older captains noticed his reckless ambition and feared the empire was repeating dangerous historical mistakes. One night in Barcelona, a massive cocaine shipment belonging to the Ricci empire was hijacked by rival syndicates. Authorities believed the loss signaled weakening influence. Across Europe, prison intelligence later revealed the horrifying truth. The hijacking had been authorized internally. Luca ordered the attack himself, hoping to provoke war and prove his strength as the Empire's future leader. When the news reached Salvatore inside his cell, he showed no anger or panic. Instead, he calmly requested a chessboard from prison staff and spent 3 days playing alone in silence. After studying the board, he sent a single coded message through Alberto Serra containing only 3 words: correct the mistake. 2 weeks later, Luca's closest advisor was found dead inside a luxury Milan hotel suite, seated peacefully beside a glass of poisoned wine. There were no signs of struggle, only silence and an unmistakable warning message. Luca immediately understood the lesson. His father was teaching from prison walls. Emotion destroys empires. Italian prosecutors became terrified as Ricci's global influence continued expanding despite total isolation. Surveillance cameras captured nothing suspicious, and wiretaps recorded no criminal conversations. Salvatore spent his monitored hours reading historical books or feeding pigeons in the prison yard like a harmless old man. Behind the illusion of weakness, intelligence analysts reached a terrifying conclusion. Ricci was not surviving prison. He was mastering it. He secretly transferred leadership responsibilities into automated financial systems using offshore algorithms and cryptocurrency laundering networks. Even if he died, the empire would continue operating without him, like a corporation surviving after its founder disappears. Just as Ricci believed his system was untouchable, betrayal began forming from the one person he trusted completely. Authorities arrested Alberto Serra during a financial audit and offered him witness protection, immunity, and a new life for his daughter. For weeks, Alberto resisted, torn between loyalty and fatherhood as investigators applied relentless psychological pressure. Eventually, desperation defeated loyalty, and Alberto agreed to cooperate with authorities. Investigators wired him with surveillance equipment and ordered him to gather proof of Ricci's secret communications. For the first time since his arrest, Salvatore Ricci faced genuine danger inside his carefully controlled world. The next message Alberto was ordered to deliver contained instructions for a global arms deal worth hundreds of millions. What investigators failed to realize was that Ricci had spent decades preparing for betrayal long before Alberto ever made his decision. Because in the mafia world, trust was temporary. Control had to be permanent.